Whispers in the Hollow. In the shadow of the graywood forest, where fog clung like ancient spirits, lay the forgotten village of Eldridge Hollow, a place where time seemed reluctant to tread, and where every crumbling building held a whisper of the past. Among these relics of bygone days stood Marlowe's Marvels, a toy shop that had not welcomed a customer in decades. Its windows were veils of dust, and the door, a sentinel of aged wood, squealed on its hinges whenever the wind deigned to push against it. The village children harbored a morbid fascination with the shop. They concocted dares and tales about the reclusive doll maker, Mr. Marlowe, who was rumored to craft more than mere playthings in his shadow-drenched workshop. It was said that Marlowe wove enchantments into his dolls, binding spirits to porcelain and glass. One blustery autumn evening, as leaves danced like fiery spirits in the twilight, a challenge was whispered among the children. Oliver, a boy of 10, with eyes as wide and curious as the moon above, accepted the dare to enter Marlowe's shop. His heart thumped a frenetic rhythm as he approached the door, pushing it open to a chorus of groans from the tired wood. Inside the shop was a cavern of shadows and shapes. Dolls of all sizes and forms crowded the shelves, their eyes like tiny mirrors reflecting the beam of Oliver's flashlight. He ventured deeper into the labyrinth of toys, his light skittering across countless glassy gazes that seemed to follow him. At the heart of the shop stood a workbench cluttered with carving tools and half-painted faces. A doll, notably different, sat in the center, covered by a cloth that seemed more like a shroud. Compelled by a mix of dread and wonder, Oliver reached out with trembling hands and drew back the cloth. Beneath it sat a doll that bore an unsettling resemblance to himself, its features eerily precise, capturing even the faint scar above his brow. A chill scurried down Oliver's spine as he stumbled backward, his mind racing with thoughts of fleeing. But a voice as raspy as dry leaves stopped him cold. "She's beautiful, isn't she?" Mr. Marlowe stood in the doorway, his figure a silhouette against the faint light, but incomplete, much like a heart without a beat. Oliver's mouth went dry, his feet rooted to the spot. "What do you mean?" he managed to whisper. Marlowe approached, the floorboards creaking under his weight. "Every doll needs a heart, a spark of life. She's chosen yours." Panic surged through Oliver, and he turned to run, but the door slammed shut, seemingly of its own accord. Marlowe began to chant in a language forgotten by time, his voice weaving through the air like dark silk. The dolls on the shelves stirred, their limbs twitching as if awakening from a long slumber. Oliver screamed, backing into a shelf that sent dolls cascading down around him. They clawed at his clothes and hair, their tiny hands imbued with unnatural strength. Above the cacophony, Marlowe's chanting grew louder, more fervent. In the whirl of terror, Oliver felt a cold touch against his chest. It was the doll, her hand placed over his heart. The room spun, voices merging into a singular haunting drone, and then darkness claimed him. When consciousness returned, Oliver found himself alone. Sunlight streamed through the grimy windows, casting patterns on the dusty floor. He was by the door, his chest aching as if something vital had been carved out. The doll was nowhere to be seen, but on the workbench lay a heart-shaped stone pulsing faintly with a ghostly light. Oliver fled the shop, the door closing with a definitive thud behind him. He raced through the village, up the hill to his home, his mind a melange of fear and confusion. His parents noticed a change immediately. Oliver became a shadow of himself, quiet, withdrawn. At night, they heard him whispering as if to someone unseen, sharing secrets meant for the dark. As months bled into years, other children began to disappear, only to be seen occasionally, peering from behind the locked windows of Marlowe's Marvels, their expressions vacant, eyes devoid of life. Oliver grew up, but never left Eldridge Hollow. He was drawn inexorably to the shop that haunted his dreams. Marlowe's Marvels stood unchanged, a monument to nightmares. Yet on each anniversary of that fateful night, a new doll appeared in the shop window, a silent sentinel with the eyes of a child who had vanished, staring out at a world they could no longer touch. The tale of the doll maker and his apprentice wove its way into the fabric of Eldridge Hollow, a chilling reminder of the night when Oliver ventured into Marlowe's marvels and emerged with a heart not entirely his own. In the village, where the past lingered like the fog and whispers filled the air, the toys in the shop window watched and waited for the next child to dare step into the darkness.